US President Donald Trump was on his plane to go watch today's Super Bowl. What a boring one that turned out to be. When he lowered the boom, tariffs on all imports to the US of steel and aluminium, no exceptions, including for Australia.
Very simply, it's if they charge us, we charge them. Any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff.
On every country?
Every country will.
It seems the Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and our Ambassador Kevin Rudd were both blindsided, hadn't seen this announcement coming exactly. Although Albanese did say he already had a call scheduled with Trump in the next 24 hours. Turns out that good timing. But it is only a second phone call since Trump was elected 3 months ago, probably his second phone call ever. Joining me is Saul Kavonik, head of Energy Australia at MST Financial. Saul, great to see you again. Now, on its own, this shouldn't be a body blow, right? We export less than, $640 million of steel to the US last year?
Oh, that's right. It's not a huge hit to our economy either way. And if the government can actually find an opportunity here to find a way for us to become exempt, it's actually an opportunity. But it is a big deal if the government fails in that regard, and particularly if they allow more dumping of some of the surplus stock that will result into Australia. Very big deal to some of Australia's steel workers. A lot of blue-collar workers in Australia are already suffering job losses and potentially more job losses because of hiked energy insecurity and energy costs. And it's these kind of increasing global competition where this America first under Trump, where they're charging ahead, unburdened by things like climate policy and over-regulation. And in that global arena, just like with sports, unfortunately, Australia, energy used to be our competitive advantage, and now we are shedding that economic muscle mass due to the policies over the last 2 years, which are killing our competitive advantage we've built up over 4 decades.
You've written a couple of brilliant pieces for The Australian recently on exactly this point. I mean, to me, you're right. I mean, this just proves the insanity of the global warming schemes that have made electricity so expensive and unreliable, and therefore harder for our steelmakers and aluminium plants to stay in business. But Saul, I just wonder how, it's clear that Energy Minister Chris Bowen's plans to go green are in chaos. Yet another example today, just today, it's like almost every day now. Nearly a decade ago, you had a shonky British industrialist saying he'd buy wireless steelworks, which he did, and he'd save them by going green. Here he is.
British industrialist and owner of Wireless Steelworks, Sanjeev Gupta, has big ambitions to use hydrogen instead, to make what's known as green steel.
For us, this is our one best hope for the immediate future.
Now, so just last year, Chris Bowen announced he was giving Gupta's Wireless Steelworks $63 million of our money to go green. But today, the South Australian Premier is warning Gupta to pay the Steelworks bills because it owes tens of millions of dollars to the government, more money to suppliers, and looks like it's going belly up. What does all this tell you?
Well, it's just another example of Minister Chris Bowen being, in this case, duped into green steel. He fell for the hydrogen hype. We've seen a procession of essentially picking winners, which have turned out to be losers since 2022. The truth is, Andrew, if this was just a case of Chris Bowen and the Labor government picking some winners and having some losers, most governments do that, and we can disagree on the direction. But the bigger problem we have here is we've witnessed almost this special level of ineptitude where every single part of our energy system is a loser at the moment. There's this misconception that Bowen's prioritised renewables over fossil fuels, and there's a very good debate there. But I just want to be clear, the renewables industry is deeply disappointed. Renewables growth is at record lows, far below the growth we saw during the coalition. Gas investment is down, coal investment is down. The tax burden to subsidise energy generation and users is higher, right? Jobs are being lost in our manufacturing sector. It's almost impossible to discern a winner here. So the ideological preferences aside, the issue we're facing here is just a thorough level of incompetence in being able to manage a department to deliver any kind of outcomes. And the anti-business hostility we've seen is seeing investment appetite drop across the board, across every energy type, across every stakeholder in our energy market.
No, I haven't seen anything like Chris Bones since I once saw a drunk at a casino at Alice Springs at about 3 a.m. in the morning or whatever it was. I don't know. That's the vision I'm getting. Saul Kavonik, may I just say your articles have been splendid. I urge people to read them on the Australian's website. Thank you very much.